The year is 1242 AD, and the Teutonic and Livonian orders march ever eastwards to conquer and Christianize more Russian lands. They now face a Novgorodian army led by the famous Alexander Nevsky at the Battle on the Ice, also known as Lake Papyrus. What's up, guys, and welcome back. We're here with another 1212 AD historical battle for you today, and this is a glorious one. This is a clash of faiths. It's the Orthodox and Catholic faiths clashing and deciding the fate of Christianity in the East. We have on one side the Grand Duchy of Kiev representing the Novgorod forces led by Alexander Nevsky, and on the other side, as you can see here, with the famous Teutonic Knights, the backbone of the Teutonic Order, leading the way for the Catholic forces here. And we have a glorious 4v4 here in this 1212 AD historical battle. I'm very much looking forward to this one. It's certainly going to be an exciting one. We have the Livonian Order over here with their crossbows. I think they're mainly bringing all the crossbows today. They are joining the fight. The Livonian Order and the Teutonic Order, both holy orders given land by the Pope and given one mission: to Christianize, and in particular Catholicize more of the eastern wastelands that were kind of unknown to the Catholic world, including Russia, most famously Poland and Lithuania. But yes, Alexander Nevsky did not like the Catholic push eastwards and decided that he had enough, and he led the Novgorod states to war against the Teutonic Order. And in fact, this was a Novgorodian victory for Alexander Nevsky and his Russian comrades, but we're going to see today whether they can do the same, whether the Teutonics can change history, or whether these great guard-birder axemen will be slicing and dicing their way through Teutonic Order. They do look pretty damn awesome. With this one being a 1242, like the battle being fought in 1242, we are using tier 1 units, as well. It's 1212, and we're in 1242, so we're only a few decades after the start date. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one goes down. The Teutonics are a bit outnumbered as they were in history, and there are much more troops than there were actually at this battle. The Teutonic troops had about 2,500, and the Russians had about 6,000. The Russians actually have about nearly 11,000 here, and the Teutonics have about 8,000. So numbers are still in favor of the Russians, but quality is in favor of the Teutonics. A few of their units are chevroned, including their cavalry, their famous Ritterbruder, which is here to cause some action. They also have some chevroned up swords as well. Their knights to represent their sort of like their knights. In history, this battle, like I said, was a Teutonic defeat, and kind of goes down in Russian like folklore as being a massive sort of victory for like the Orthodox state. And they kind of like really boost the propaganda about this battle, saying that like the knights in their retreat actually like fell through the ice and died and went to their deaths that way. But I don't know if that's gonna happen here today with the ice happening. Oh, we actually had a bit of a charge over here. Some Dracaena actually getting in amongst some Livonian auxiliary crossbowmen, and we've got some Fushnek spears trying to chase them off. But yes, we'll see whether the Teutonics do fall through the ice today. We'll see. There isn't actually any ice here. We can't find an ice field map, so we're just here on a big snowy plain instead, and we'll see what happens. It looks like the Ritterbruder and the rest of the Teutonic cav is setting up here, ready for a standoff here with the senior Dracaena and some Burundi lancers. There is a slight cavalry advantage for the Teutonics, as there should be. They're famous for their cavalry. It's kind of what they were. They kind of used to win their battles, was the sheer cavalry charge against infantry lines. And here we go. Actually, a pretty nasty charge there by the Dracaena, catching the Teutonic Knights kind of a little bit by surprise there. And they're winning across the front at the moment, actually, against these Ritterbruder here. The senior Dracaena actually apparently are better than the Ritterbruder, which is kind of surprising. The Ritterbruder, I thought, in an early period, would have been one of the best around. They were a famous and a feared cavalry unit, but we'll see. And there you go. The Lions kind of engaging there. Cavalry actually pulling back quite early there, the Ritterbruder. Might lose some men there to the Barendi Lancers. We have a rear charge now coming in from some more cavalry and shock infantry being thrown in. A very typical 12-12 AD strategy. Throw infantry in to support your cavalry, and then try and pull out the cavalry when it's safe to do so. And as you can see, Kiev trying to do the same here, trying to get some some sword infantry up anyway. I'm bringing up Javies as well, are really good. Some Rus javelinmen, trying to bring those up to try and help counter the cavalry. It looks like the shock has already had some joy though, some success. We're going to see a charge here from the Ritterbruder going in, slamming into this Russian infantry here, getting a good charge off there. So yeah, we're using Kiev in this one because they're another Rus sort of like style faction. They have very similar sort of units to what they would have had at the time. As there's no Novgorod faction, unfortunately, in 12-12. I'd like it to be added. I think it'd be a cool addition. Obviously, we wouldn't really be able to get them on the campaign map, but it'd be a cool addition to have, that's for sure. We have the shock now in amongst these Javies, and they're going to start slicing and dicing these guys here. So yeah, this isn't really what happened in history, but it kind of sort of is, because Alexander Nevsky actually in this battle uses his cavalry to flank around the Teutonics when they march across the ice, and actually wins the battle that way, routs them. And we do have a flanking force here from Kiev. As you can see, he's charging into some spears over here of the Teutonics, as he's left a little bit of a rear guard. Why he charged spears is not a healthy idea. Yeah, the cab being thrown in there. So we actually do have a flanking force. So it's actually a 4v3 at this moment in time in favor of the Teutonics as the 4th Kievan army comes around. It wasn't actually what we had planned. We were just expecting a kind of a straight up fight. And it seems like we're going to get a bit of a similar scenario, but instead of just taking up one flank, not on both. But yeah, the cavalry here picking apart that spear, just being left at the back to fend for itself. That's sad to see. We actually have... So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that army and see whether it can come in late into the battle, influence the game, and, you know, maybe deal a really severe blow to what will be a pretty wounded and, I imagine, tired Teutonic army after fighting the other Kievan forces here. Shock infantry going in here still against the Rus infantry. They've sort of broken through that front line on this flank here, but they're taking heavy casualties to things like javelins. And the cavalry is still causing an issue over here. We've actually got a Rus general over here engaged. Maybe it's Alexander Nevsky himself. Who knows? But he's in here. We actually do have the same general. It's the Nazgard. Unfortunately, there isn't like a non-bodyguard unit that we can use. But the cavalry getting in here. This is a Grandmaster's bodyguard as well. He's actually getting in and helping to rout some of these Russian infantry here. So he's doing a good job. I was really using my crossbows as well in this fight as much as possible to focus down the shock infantry, because the guard bird or axemen are some of the best shock infantry in the game at early tier. So if you're playing a tier 1 like sort of match and you need a faction which has good shock infantry, Kiev is your faction. They have really good shock infantry, some of the best around at this point. Dismounted Drazina, which is one of their better infantry units here, is wavering. This is not a good sign here. This is very, very bad for the Rus. The other lines have started to engage over here. So we have Samlander swords engaged here against Smurd infantry. A lot of the Russian troops are weaker, but they do have the numbers. And that kind of again goes with history. Actually, Alexander Nevsky's army was mainly made up of militia and a small sort of Drazina corps. And we have Ritterbruder over here getting in amongst these Rus hunters, trying to slice and dice these guys. But he is actually winning this cav fight over here. He's got his Bogateri as well, being charged down by Grandmaster bodyguard. And we actually have another general over here by the famous red line, you know, where the armies just mark out where the end of the battlefield is. But yeah, we have Ritterbruder in here mixing in against the Nazgard, and another sort of mounted sergeants going into the rear of a Drazina unit there. So the cav fight is going quite well, it seems, on that side here. And cavalry over here is causing all sorts of problems for these Rus hunters, which are a light bow unit. But they are pretty deadly if they are mass-fired on a unit. I've got the better infantry, the Schwertbruder. These are the better swords available for the Teutonics. Better than the Samlanders. These guys might hold a little longer, but they are up against heavy Smurd spearmen. So it's going to be a tough fight. Some of the better like spears on the battlefield, but yeah, losing decisively actually in this fight here to Schwertbruder. Kind of surprised. But yeah, it's nice to like do a historical battle like on the eastern side. We do a lot of historical battles, I feel like in the Middle East and also in Western Europe. And here we have a charge from the Ritterbruder going in, trying to take out these Guardbirder Axemen. I think on the charge didn't quite work. And now they're engaged in him on some smurred infantry here. Oh my gosh, that guy's neck was bent. I don't know if you guys could see that. That knight's like neck was bent a very wrong way. But yeah, it's nice to be in Eastern Europe, checking out some of the maybe less seen factions. Guardbirder Axemen here, getting shot to pieces again. I think seeing a lot of focus fire from the crossbows. A general is dead. It's the general that was surrounded over here by the Ritterbruder. He has been taken out, and we have spears and cav here now dealing a good blow. And you can see, look at that. Wow. This army, as soon as the general died, has routed. Now leaving a big gap, which this army over here is going to have to try and deal with. The Nazgard, I think, is moving across. They might need to send the Birder Axemen to try and support that general. We have got cavalry, and here we have some just cav having to, like, I think this is Jazina here. I think, no, Bogateri, okay, Bogateri going in. And they're trying to hold the, I didn't realize there's a Bogateri infantry and cavalry, but they're trying to hold the front line now. On their own. So we'll see how they can do. Spears here holding their heavy smurred spears, and they're actually wavering. Not a good sign here. On this side, I think we did rout the other general. So morale is kind of looking not great. Yeah, you can see he's back there routing. But it's not over yet. A lot of units starting to waver, and they've broken through to the crossbow line here. Have the Rus causing all sorts of problems for my army. But I have got some handy Grandmaster's Bodyguard here to try and support the fight, trying to get some rear charges. It certainly helped that this this player on this side here really sacrifices cav onto my flank instead of using it on his own to defend his infantry. As you can see here, like smurred infantry getting in amongst the crossbows. Probably would have been saved if he had his own cavalry. But yeah, he actually brought it over to my side to try and double stack, and we tried to take on multiple units of cavalry. Well, a lot of units of cavalry. And again, more archers here getting dealt. We've got some Prussian archers here being charged. And they're probably gonna ride pretty quickly there. So yeah, you can see all sorts of problems going on. Again, more looks like some Brabazoni and Vulgiers here. They're getting outflanked by swords. There's some smurred infantry here flanking around. They actually might get a good flank off here, these light infantry. So yeah, this flanking army now is starting to arrive, and it is starting to have its influence on the battle. Its general and another unit is over here, and this cavalry is winning in a cav fight here against the general and against the Grandmaster's Bodyguard of 1 of 4. I don't think the Teutonics have lost one yet, but they are in danger of losing one here. They do look badass though, the Grandmaster's Bodyguard. Like, look at the helm, it looks awesome. I mean, so do the Kievan troops. It looks amazing as well. Got more cavalry on the way. We got a Schwertbruder, but a mounted Schwertbruder that's coming up. It looks like it might be about to charge a general. Don't know how good an idea that is. The general might be a bit better off here. In he goes, slamming on in. And the cavalry fight gets underway. Slicing and dicing, boys. It looks like now, with this flank also being dealt with here, that the Teutonic forces are starting to envelop the final Rus army that is fighting on this flank here. You can see Teutonic knights slamming into the back of these brave Novgorodian warriors. It's a good charge there by the Grandmaster's Bodyguard, who's yet to lose a man, and he's routing so many. Impressive. Got some more mounted Schwertbruder as well going in. Rear charges with no generals is never a good sign in 1212 AD. They do look very nice though, like that white and red. It's a common theme in the Holy Orders, and it's always a good look. And yeah, you can see there, these armies have been just like thoroughly dealt with. We got some remaining spears over, some smurred spears holding the line. Trying to do their best. This General's Bodyguard, this Grandmaster's Bodyguard is doing a lot of work right now. They're healthy. The Guardbirder Axemen, they can cause problems, but not when they're being rear charged by cavalry, that's for sure. Actually, amazingly, this crossbow here managed to win. I think because it's support from other crossbow units. But yeah, Sina and Drazina, I think they were pretty weak anyway. But they charged into crossbows and died. We do actually have the infantry over here, which the brave Teutonic infantry that knew it probably is going to die here. The Schwertbruder and various other units now holding the line. But they're slowing down the Kievian infantry army that is making its way into the rear lines. If it was just a little bit earlier, it could have maybe had a bit more influence. The player decided to go all the way around the side of the hills. He could have just come through this like ravine and then just attacked on the flank, which could have been made a bit more of a serious problem. With this Teutonic army here quite strung out, it was very vulnerable. So definitely was a bit of a risk with what he did, but with having no cavalry support as well, just stretching his army out. And there you go, this Volgier is getting surrounded and they've been routed there. It looks like these archers are also going to get charged here because it's, well, unprotected. There's not much they can do. These spear bogateri here are going to go in and they're going to just annihilate these poor archers. That general is all on his own now, and this is the general of the reinforcing Novgorodian army. And there you go. I mean, that's all the generals gone. So that must be Alexander Nevsky out of the battle now, whichever one I guess he's represented by. And now these Teutonic armies can start to move towards the remaining Novgorodian forces over here, which are fighting on hard. They refuse to fight, like to give up the fight. Their homeland depends on it. Their faith depends on it. They must stop the Catholic invaders. Smurd infantry here. I think they're routing. They've had enough. How many men were there left? 58. It's a fairly average number. Spear bogateri here though. 130 and they're wavering. More spears over there starting to waver as well. And Guardbirder Axeman, it's not looking good. I think it's morale because of the loss of a general. Let's see some of those Guardbirder Axemen in action actually. Oh, they're over here flanking. These Schwertbruder might be thinking about routing themselves. Big angry Russians with big heavy axes. I couldn't think of a worse combo. Well, if you're a Teutonic anyway, I couldn't think of a worse combo. If you're rooting for the Rus, these are the guys you're going to depend on. The Teutonics on their way now with their cavalry, which they still have alive. They still have some like strength cavalry. Got a 56, a 30 there. He's got plenty of... I think the general's body got a fairly decent condition. Even Ritterbruder here with some good like strength left. That is worrying to see for the Novgorodian players here. Or the Kievian players. Whatever you prefer to call them. Depends how much you're going for roleplay. Dismounted Drazina here. Getting focused down by the crossbows. I don't think they're routing them. In fact, they've routed the Prussian archers of those Russian forces there. They'll all be able to either face off against the newly arriving Teutonic forces or flank around. And looks like they could rout these Schwertbruder here. Guardbirder Axemen are actually still struggling in this fight here against the swords. And look at that, a huge mass. They're just kind of all just blobbing up onto one unit. Not really the best idea. I would have spread these guys out. You have, well, you have the numbers that you could route these guys. You just get round the back of them, surround them. Morale is not going to be great. I think this army might have lost its general as well, but I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3. No, I think they've also have their generals actually, the Teutonics. So no, he's just fine. But you could route these guys still. Yeah, the Schwertbruder, they didn't have chevrons, so they're not as experienced as the other units, it would seem. They're starting to rout. At least some of them are. Crossbows over here getting getting into the fight, getting stuck in. Don't know why, but we've got Bohemian crossbows engaging against swords. They could be busy shooting them. or shooting the reinforcing Teutonic troops, which are on their way. Here comes the Teutonic shock infantry. They've just kind of just skipped past those Dracaena like they weren't even there. Here we go, a cavalry charge in the back of those Bohemian crossbows. And they're going to get routed there pretty much instantly. There you go, wavering. Wow, look at that. Gone almost instantly. A lot of units actually starting to waver pretty quickly. More Bohemian crossbows being engaged. Guard Bird or Axeman, actually, funnily enough, might be one of the last to hold. And it seems as though the Teutonic Order is going to change history here at the Battle on the Ice. And their crusade to go ever eastward is going to continue and enter ever deeper into Russian and Novgorodian lands. Alexander Nevsky looks like he's going to have to regroup and re-attack the Teutonic Crusaders. But yeah, there is a close victory for the Teutonic Order. We'll end the battle there and have a quick look at the end results. This was actually part of a live stream that we did for 12/12 not too long ago. I thought like it was an okay battle. It's a fun one to check out. Maybe it wasn't the closest we've ever done, but I do enjoy showing off the Teutonic Order. And Kiev's a fun faction as well. And we certainly don't do too many Eastern scenarios, like Eastern Europe scenarios. So it's always good to show them off. But yes, as you can see here, I was playing as one of the Teutonic Order armies. I thought I was going to be playing on the side that was going to have the harder time. But I honestly think it was Mythic. Nothing bad to him because I think it was a worthy tactic and made it a bit interesting. Taking his army around for the flank and trying to flank the Teutonic armies. It actually gave the numbers advantage to the Teutonics early on before the other army could arrive. I thought with the number difference, the Teutonics were going to get overwhelmed just with support, like infantry that could support cavalry, and the Teutonics didn't have that infantry that could really support the cavalry so much because they were going to need it in the front lines. But it seemed like they were okay in the end. As you can see here, I have 524 kills with my general's bodyguard, 334 with the axes, 217, 181, some good kills there, 170 with the spears, crossbows getting 122, one of my mounted Schwertbruder here getting 167, 196 with the Ritterbruder. Then we have Zach playing as another Teuton army, 294 kills with his general, 218 with the axes, 158 with the Samlanders, 192 with his Schwertbruder, and then his Ritterbruder getting 251, sorry. Then we have Kaiser playing as the Teutonic army. I think he was the rear guard trying to defend against Mythic. His Cav did very well, 319 and 256, because it could help support against my opponent. And he got some pretty good kills with his cavalry, his infantry, sorry, as well. Schwertbruder, 150, 120. And we'll move on to Bulk, who was the final Teutonic army. 433 kills with his Cav, 273 with the mounted sergeants, 105 with the Livonian Order crossbows. His infantry, both 2 units here getting 171 kills, and his general getting 578 kills. Then we have Mythic playing as one of the Kievian armies. He did flank around, like I said. It was a worthy tactic. It nearly worked out, but it was not to be today. 107 kills with the general's bodyguard, his Bird Axeman 78, sorry, and then his Dracaena 104, 181. They're pretty solid actually, do some good damage, and his senior Dracaena getting 233 kills. Then we have Rizza playing as another Kievian army. He got 91 kills with his Bird Axeman, and then nothing else really. A lot of units struggled in that one, it seemed, for Rizza. Then we have K1 playing as another Kievian army, 96 kills with his Bird Axeman, and then he's got I don't know, really. Actually, his infantry really did struggle. Wow, I'm surprised, to be honest. I thought they were doing a little bit better, but it seems not, maybe. And then Famous Austrian, who did do a pretty good job against me and also against Kaiser. Held the line for a long time. His Birder Axeman, 44 kills. His 91 kills with the Dracaena. And his cavalry had a bit of joy against mine, 64. And 52. Did okay, but nothing insane. But there you go, guys. That is today's battle. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, do remember to leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and a comment show your support. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.